It's Ken Harbaugh with Against All Enemies on the MeidasTouch Network. Apologies for the non-standard backdrop. I am on the road, and this issue is too important to wait on until I'm back in the studio, because it appears we have finally reached the moment where Republicans in the Senate have had enough of Tommy Tuberville. Take a look.
It's your Republican colleagues who say you're weakening the military.
Oh, really? Well, that's their opinion.
Are you at risk of weakening the military?
No. As I've told you all along, if I thought there was any problem with readiness, we wouldn't be doing this. All jobs are filled. People are doing their jobs. This will be over one day. I don't know when. That was kind of interesting for me last night. But
those are some biting criticisms you got last night.
Yeah, it was a little character assassination at times. But you got to remember what I did for a living for a long time, so I'm used to that. But we got to get all on the same page on this, and I think we will. It's just we went through something last night that that's 17th time. 16 of them were Democrats, and now one Republican. But we'll work through it.
So has any of this caused you to change your approach?
No.
So you're not going to drop your holds no matter what?
No.
In the last few months, Senator Tuberville has done more to negatively impact U.S. military readiness than any of our strategic adversaries, from Russia to China to Iran. Let that sink in. A sitting U.S. senator has damaged our military in ways that our enemies could only dream of. As we speak, countless senior officers are managing unsustainable workloads to fill leadership gaps. Some are working themselves nearly to death. Think I'm exaggerating? Watch this.
This weekend, the Commandant of the Marine Corps, General Eric Smith, suffered an apparent heart attack, according to reporting from the New York Times. The Senate only confirmed Smith for that job last month, I should say, but he's actually been doing two jobs for months, his new one and the old one, because his would-be deputy hasn't been confirmed. And that is because Republican Senator Tommy Tuberville of Alabama is blocking the Senate from what are usually perfunctory votes of grouped nominations of hundreds of general and flag officers across the military. He says he's doing it because he opposes the Pentagon's abortion travel policy, a policy, by the way, that these generals and admirals had nothing to do with adopting, because that's the purview of civilian leaders of the military. Now, to be clear, we have no way of knowing that the stress of these demands contributed to General Smith's health emergency, but safe to say it did not help. Smith himself telling the Marine Corps Times last month, quote, "It is not a sustainable thing when the last thing you do is flip your computer off at 11:30 at night and you're getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning." General Smith is now receiving care, according to the Marine Corps, as they scramble to fill the void. Because, as I mentioned, Smith does not have a confirmed deputy. The Senate hasn't confirmed an assistant commandant of the Marine Corps, hat tip Tommy Tuberville. The senior-most general at Marine Corps HQ, Lieutenant General Karsten Heckel, is now filling in for Smith. And Heckel was already doing two jobs because, yet again, Tommy Tuberville's holds, according to military.com. So now General Heckel's responsible for what, 4 jobs? The whole affair actually so confusing that the Marine Corps announced that Heckel would be acting commandant and then had to correct itself and say that Heckel would just be performing the duties of the commandant. And there is no commander of the 5th Fleet responsible for the Middle East. No deputy commander of U.S. Central Command, which oversees the entire region. No deputy commanding general of Joint Special Operations Command, as U.S. Special Operations forces are on alert in the region, some of them involved in advising hostage rescues. And there is no head, we should say, of the Navy or the Air Force as fighter jets deploy to the region. But don't worry, Tuberville says, his holds are no big deal.
There's no threat to readiness. The people that we need to be really worried about are her colonels and majors and sergeants and privates. They're the people who get ready to fight wars. The people up here in the Pentagon, I don't know what they do every day, but they're more of giving advice.
Actually, these people do stuff. They do important stuff. And they don't just give advice, though let's not diminish the value of informed advice. They make decisions. They are necessary, especially right now. Even Tuberville's fellow Republicans know this, and some have criticized him publicly. But Tuberville insists, quote, it's not holding up any readiness. I mean, we're not at war, number one, and all these jobs that we're holding, they're all being done. But the Marine Corps Commandant, that, it appears, might be a bridge too far even for the senator from Alabama. Because just moments ago, he told reporters he's taken the rare procedural step to bypass his own hold, but only on one nominee, Assistant Commandant of the Marine Corps, sending a clear message to military leaders. You may be doing 2 jobs, maybe even 4, but you're only a heart attack away from Senator Tuberville doing his. And we'll be right back.
I, along with my military colleagues here at the MeidasTouch Network, have been on this for months. You've heard me and Fred Wellman and Amanda Weinstein raising the alarm about Senator Tuberville's reckless holds on military promotions. Now, finally, a handful of his Republican colleagues are calling him out. Here's Lyndsey Graham.
Just denied this lady a promotion. You did that. All of us are ready to promote her because she deserves to be promoted. She had nothing to do with this policy. Let me say it again. Everybody in this body could find an issue with any administration they don't agree with. And what we're going to do is open up Pandora's box. Today is abortion policy. If we take back the White House, we'll go back to the Mexico City policy, limiting dollars to be given to overseas entities that are engaged in the abortion business. Some pro-choice people don't like that. What would happen if they put a hold on all the officers because they don't agree with the Republican administration? There's a reason this has not been done this way for a couple hundred years. No matter where you believe it or not, Senator Tuberville, this is doing great damage to our military. I don't say that lightly. I've been trying to work with you for 9 months. Folks, if this keeps going, people are going to leave. Let me tell you how the system works. You have 18 months, I think, from the time you're promoted to pin on. And if you don't make that gate, your time and grade up or out rule kicks in. There's some people that are waiting to be promoted that if they don't get promoted soon, they're going to be out of the military. Now, how does that help anybody if they're qualified? There's not one senator in here that could not find a reason to object to an administration policy in the military. None of us. We could all find something. I just hope we don't do this routinely, because if this is the norm, who the hell wants to serve in the military when your promotion can be canned based on something you had nothing to do with? She had nothing to do with this. If you think it's illegal, go to court. We have courts in this country.
Cold turkey may be great on sandwiches, but there's a better way to break your bad habits. We're not talking about some weird mind trick from your wacky neighbor or some sketchy message board. We're talking about our sponsor, Fume, and they look at the problem in a different way. Not everything in a bad habit is wrong. So instead of a drastic, uncomfortable change, why not just remove the bad from your habit? Fume is an innovative, award-nominated device that does just that. Instead of electronics, Fume is completely natural. Instead of vapor, Fume uses flavored air. And instead of harmful chemicals, Fume uses all natural flavors. You get it. Instead of bad, Fume is good. It's a habit you're free to enjoy and makes replacing your bad habit easy. Your Fume comes with an adjustable airflow dial and is designed with movable parts and magnets for fidgeting, giving your fingers a lot to do, which is helpful for de-stressing and anxiety while breaking your bad habit. The first time I used Fume, I was surprised at how it's so easy to hold and perfectly balanced, and quite honestly fun to fidget with. The real wood material and sleek design definitely classes it up. Stopping is something we all put off because it's hard, but switching to Fume is easy, enjoyable, and even fun. Fume has served over 100,000 customers and has thousands of success stories, and there's no reason that can't be you. Join Fume in accelerating humanity's breakup from destructive habits by picking up the Journey Pack today. Head to tryfume.com and use code BOATS to save 10% off when you get the Journey Pack today. That's tryfum.com and use code BOATS to save an additional 10% off your order today. Thanks for listening, everyone. I've got a quick break here, but I need a favor first. Shows like this depend on your support. Please, if you can spare 5 seconds, click the link to the podcast version of the show below and leave us a 5-star review. It really does help. Thanks. What's notable about the criticism being leveled at Senator Tuberville by his own colleagues is that it has now gone beyond a policy disagreement. They are impugning Tuberville's character, and it's about time. When Tuberville complained of character assassination in that first clip, he wasn't wrong. His colleagues on his own side have had it with his empty excuses. Here's Joni Ernst basically calling him a liar.
Believe in our country. And it is really unfortunate that tonight these men and women have been denied their promotions. We have done the best that we can to honor the request of a fellow senator that these nominations be brought to the floor and voted on individually. And I really respect men of their word. I do not respect men who do not honor their word. We have brought forward nearly 60 nominees. Every one of them have been denied an opportunity.
A little background here. These high-level promotions need Senate approval, and normally it's a pro forma exercise that seldom gets interrupted. The approvals happen historically in batches, but in an effort to accommodate Senator Tuberville's blanket holds on these promotions, his colleagues agreed to advance the most important ones individually, and still, Tuberville objected. Here's the clip.
Is there objection?
Madam President.
The senator from Alabama.
Object.
Objection is heard.
Madam President.
Senator from Alaska.
Thank you, Madam President. And just for people who are watching, that last nominee, 5th Fleet Commander. So you may have heard there's 2 carrier strike groups in the Middle East. That's the naval officer who would be in charge of all of them. Right there. We could have put him in charge. Pretty important to have 5th Fleet Commander ready to go, and just objected to. I'm not sure why. Again, we're bringing these up one by one, which is what I thought my colleague from Alabama said he was good to go with.
This is borderline insane on multiple levels. First of all, preventing our Navy from filling these critical roles during a moment at which multiple carrier strike groups are deployed, trying to prevent a regional war, is mind-blowingly irresponsible. But there's also the fact that this is happening in the Senate. Unlike in the House, the Senate places enormous weight on maintaining decorum and comity between members. Republicans, at last, seem to be reaching their breaking point with their colleague from Alabama. I'll leave you with this ad from my friends over at VoteVets, who always tell it like it is.
The news of the world pictured by Faux Movie Tone. An un-American assault on our military. Traitors to the cause of freedom. In the annals of modern warfare, we expect foreign enemies to try to undermine the mighty U.S. military any chance they get. But now, the danger lies within. In the hallowed halls of our cherished American democracy, one so-called American senator who never deigned to wear the uniform himself single-handedly stops hundreds of military leaders from taking command, including the chiefs of the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and the Marines. Dangerous dictators look on with glee as Tuberville does their work for them, hurting American military readiness. The Secretary of the Navy says it best.
I would have never imagined that actually one of our own senators would actually be aiding and abetting communist and other autocratic regimes around the world.
And his domestic comrades, Republicans in Congress, are traitors in their silence. Their tight lips could sink ships. Patriots who rose to the cause of freedom once have risen again, calling on Congress to stop the block on military promotions and let our fighting men and women do what they do best.